Hello, and today we're going to be talking about something that sadly too many people do, and that is worry. Today we're going to be talking about, should I be worried about getting into college? What is really behind that? What's the question that we really want to answer? That's what we're going to be delving into in this video. We really want to address this question by looking at what's behind the worry, right? That's what we want to delve into. When we find out what's behind it, I think we're going to find emotion, and we want to be talking about what those emotions are actually doing to the brain and to your ability to perform. Of course, that's going to lead us to mindset. It's going to lead us to some of these other topics that we delve into as we always do. So we're going to cover all those things and more in this video. All right, let's kind of break down what a kid is really saying when they are asking, man, should I be worried about getting into college? Behind that is really an emotion of fear, right? There's something that they're fearful about, which is causing them to begin to do this act of worrying. What is that? It can be a multitude of things, but ultimately they operate under this belief that if they don't get into college, they're going to have a harder future. They won't be able to make as much money. They won't be able to have a good career. They won't, whatever it is that they're imagining, what they've been told. So, oh my gosh, if I don't get into college, bad things are going to happen, right? That's that kind of thinking process that is really behind the question, should I be worried? So if we want to answer that, we want to kind of understand that the concerns that are behind that, right? So if we can show them what those concerns are, what the emotion does, then we can talk about what to do about that. So that's kind of where we're going with this. But the bottom line is it's a fear root cause, something that's irrational, meaning that they are imagining it. It's not like they're facing down something that they need to be worried about or fearful about in order to protect themselves, right? So we got to understand what that is, that irrationality of it, and go from there. All right, so for all you parents who have a worrying teenager or a teenager who's worrying, you want to be asking yourself, what is the purpose of that worry, right? When worry helps you prepare, that's great. You can kind of move on, let go. All right, what am I concerned about? What can I do to alleviate those concerns? When you do that, the worrying should kind of go away because you're addressing them. The other aspect of this is that worry begins to create the emotion of fear, right? You're fearful this is going to happen. That's why you go through the act of worrying. So there's some real strong connection between fear and worry. Again, the purpose behind the fear, and then what's going on emotionally. Are you holding on to this? You cannot perform as well when you're holding on to these kind of negative, stressful emotions. We've gone over that in other videos. That's been shown in research after research after research. So you need to be able to separate yourself from that emotion. How do you do that? It's about understanding how your brain is processing what you are thinking about to create the fear. You're imagining certain contexts of things happening, but also in a particular way. There's particular characteristics to what you are imagining, from what you're saying to yourself, right? You are seeing things in color or black and white, or they're a movie, or they're a still frame, or they are bigger than life, smaller than life, what have you. There's all kinds of characteristics about what you're imagining and what you're hearing, the loudness, the tone, the pitch, the speed, the cadence, all these things. You want to understand what those characteristics are and what happens when you change some of them. And yes, you can change them simply by thinking about it, by changing those little switches in your brain, right? When you begin to do that, you're going to be changing how you feel about those things. Most important thing of all, though, is what is the lesson that you need to learn? What's the thing you are is trying to tell you about preparation so that you can address that. Let's kind of break this down. Again, it's going to be kind of mindset related. And we want to help you, or help your child begin to understand their beliefs that might be driving this, the strategies that they're using, right? So we already kind of talked about what's going on inside their mind. What are those overarching beliefs that also might be driving this? Do they believe that college education is the only way to get what their outcome, their goal, whatever that is? Is that part of their belief? Is the belief that if they don't get into an elite college, then they won't be able to get a good job? Are they believing that the only way for them to have success and reach their fulfillment is to find a good job? What do they believe about entrepreneurship? What do they believe about money? These beliefs around certain core concepts and ideas that actually going to impact the decision making in terms of getting into college are important to identify, so you can begin to find out, are they really helping support, or are these kind of beliefs that might be perpetuating that worry? So let me kind of tell you about two twins, right? Sets of twins, a brother and a sister. So they aren't obviously brother and sister. They aren't identical twins, but they are twins. There's some similarities to twins, even though they're more like just regular brother sister siblings. Well, they both, the whole family, right? College is what you do. There's that expectation that you're going to go to college. The expectation is that you go to college, it's going to help you find a good job, career, what have you. Well, they go through high school and all, and one of them is kind of worried, like, oh, man, am I going to be able to get in? I don't know if I want to. And then, will I be able to be successful in it? I got all this homework. I didn't really like school, blah, blah, blah. All these things think about, worrying about, and creating stress about. The stress doesn't help them perform as well in high school. It's kind of builds up. When you get closer and closer to college, that's kind of escalates. The other one was able to kind of like let go of that. You know what? If I get in, I'm going to study this. I think I want to get into teaching, so I need the college degree, blah, blah, blah. But there was kind of like, if I don't, I'll figure it out. So by letting go of that, they actually, their high school performance and their desire to get in and do well on an interview to get into the school and all that, just, it came, it's natural, it's flowed, right? The other one kind of, it showed that worry, that nervousness, that apprehension kind of came through. In the long run, right, one of them got into college. The other one went to like a local community college, kind of struggled there, still kind of stuck in that trap. And finally, it was like, listen, what is going to make you happy? What are your skills? What are your strengths? What is your concern about not getting into college? Why are you trying so hard to get into college? What do you want to accomplish? What are your goals? And it turned out that they didn't really, not big dreamer in terms of like career oriented stuff, simple pleasures of life. It's like, all right, understand if you don't go to college, right? These are the kind of jobs that you can do. There's going to be other things you can do to make that extra income, but no, you might need to do that. Maybe there's some entrepreneurial things. What are your passions? How can you earn some extra money, get a second stream of income? And going through that process, now, oh, okay, I got some options. And I know some other people, and I could even potentially maybe buy some real estate and become like a landlord and make some other income that way. That might be something that suits my personality and all. So they were able to take just a labor kind of job that's in demand, pays decent. And once they stopped worrying about and understanding that they didn't need to go to college, shifted that mindset, now they can focus on doing really well in this, finding a career path that way, looking for opportunities for second streams of income. make up the difference. They're much happier, much more focused, because they understood and learned from themselves that there's no reason to worry. I can still make it in this world. I just need to maybe find a different way. I hope you take a valuable lesson from this video where worrying doesn't really do you any good at all. As always, I encourage you to subscribe, check out our other videos. In particular, you might be interested in the video, does it matter getting into an elite college? Check that video out today, and we'll see you in another.